if you dislike this movie, like I'm just like, why and stuff, like, do you not have a soul or something?
Huh?
Drive-by movies you're watching.
Fresh releases.
My name's Blaze.
And I'm James.
And this week we're talking Pixar's Soul.
Can you help me get back?
No, wait!
There I am. What are we waiting for?
Wait, not me!
Soul just came out on Christmas Day. It's about a musician who has lost his passion for music and he's transported out of his body and he must find a way back with the help of an infant soul learning about herself. So yeah, this is new to Disney Plus. This is our first Disney Plus exclusive movie we're reviewing on the show. So I'm curious to hear what you thought about it, Blaze. How'd you spend your Christmas? I know you spent it watching this. What'd you think of Soul?
Did I watch this on Christmas? Yeah, I think I did watch this on
I think
Christmas,
everyone
actually.
did. Let's be honest. Yeah.
I was like, did I? I watched so many movies on Christmas. I wasn't sure if this was one of the ones that I dug into.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have to say, I mean, this is I wouldn't say that this movie was a pleasant surprise. I don't think that that's the right word. I think it's kind of we've come to terms, like everyone, all cinema lovers, that like most all Pixar movies are good. This kind of checks those boxes. This movie's good. I don't think it's much more than that. I heard a ton of people being like, I cried so much. Like, this movie's so amazing. I didn't feel that with this movie. If you did, I'd love to hear it, because I just didn't find like those emotional heartstrings at the end that I know that the film was going for. I just couldn't. I don't know. I guess I wasn't fully invested in the film by that point. I did like a lot of the stuff in the beginning, and I think we can get a little bit into that a little bit later, but first off, I kind of like to know what you thought of the film.
Yeah, I mean, overall, just flat out, I'll say I enjoyed it. I thought it was way better than the earlier Pixar movie we got this year, Onward. Onward felt more like a Disney movie, and nothing against Disney animated movies. Like, I did like Tangled. I haven't seen Frozen, but I hear that's great. I did like Moana also. These are all Disney animated movies that everyone says are like Pixar level quality. And I think animation wise, yeah, all those movies are beautiful, but Onward felt more like a Disney movie. There were some cool moments. Of course, there were a lot of touching moments also later on towards the film, but it felt very bland and just not as amazing as a normal Pixar movie. This is much more what I expect from a Pixar movie, but it's not one of the better ones, I'd say. I think it's a great, fine movie, and I really did enjoy it. And the first half, I think, is much stronger than the second half of the movie. Not to take away from the climax or, final like 30 minutes of the movie where it does get pretty emotional and stuff, but yeah, we'll get into that and stuff too. But it was a fun Christmas movie. It checked all the boxes. Wasn't one that made me cry. The last one to make me cry Pixar wise, I think, was Inside Out. And this felt very Inside Out like too, with just how visually different this one is, I guess you can say. But yeah, let's dive into more. So like, what were some of the things that you liked and disliked about it?
I think one of the things I absolutely loved about it was that intro. Like, honestly, I could have checked out before the title credits come up. Mm-hmm. Like the title credits come up actually like 15. I think it was like 15 minutes in this movie. At least it felt like.
I was surprised on that too. Like, I was just like, oh wow, we're going to get deep with this one. But yeah, I loved that intro as well too. Yeah.
The intro I thought was amazing. That was all the stuff that I kind of wanted out of the movie, and the movie definitely. It has that. It's involved with a lot of that beginning, but the film doesn't stop there, obviously. I really love Joe Gardner's character, the fact that he's a dreamer. He has this ambition to become a musician, a jazz musician, like a famous jazz musician, maybe the next John Coltrane. He plays these gigs, but also at the same time he is, teaching part-time, like at a school jazz band, and the music is literally intolerable with the kids playing it. They're so bad, but you gotta love it, because sometimes there's a kid every now and then that has heart and really finds interest in their instrument and really wants to pursue music. But for the most part, it's kind of a job that he just does, and maybe sometimes he gets to actually flex his stuff. Like in the beginning of the film, he starts playing like a song and everyone actually really enjoys it until the bell goes off. So I like that aspect. Then you have this whole thing with his mother she wants him to give up and just get a job and worry about his future. Of course, you kind of had this, like, it's somewhat of a cliche story, but I felt like it was refreshing seeing that in a Pixar movie, if that makes sense. Like, if you saw that in just a live action movie, you'd be like, okay, I've definitely seen this movie before. But seeing it like in this awesome animation kind of gave new life to like what you think of as a Pixar movie. It felt like, honestly, like a drama. Like the beginning just kind of made me feel like, you know, a drama you'd see at the Academy Award. It felt like Whiplash or something like that, where it's like a really well done drama, but it was just animated, which was, you know, kind of different.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with like everything you said. And I actually went into this movie blind. I did not watch a trailer. I didn't even read the synopsis. I just knew somehow jazz is related. I don't know if it was from the movie poster or something, like someone carrying like a saxophone or something, even though he's a piano player in this movie. I just remember seeing an image of like an instrument and I was just like, oh, it looks like it's going to be about a jazz movie or a jazz storyline. And I didn't know that, like, you know, so early. I mean, you'd think would be a spoiler, but I didn't know that he was going to die within, that's like the intro of the movie and stuff, and I was caught off guard. I was like, oh, okay, we're about to get into some heavy territories. And yeah, like there were some moments that were very heartfelt too, and like, you know, I felt the emotions come. I don't know if watching in a theater would have made a difference, because, you know, when I watched Inside Out in theaters, that's when I was like, oh man, I'm fighting these tears and stuff, and like eyes getting all watery and stuff. My girlfriend cried 3 times while watching this movie, so that like made it like a little bit of a like more emotional experience too and stuff. But it was like, you know, really fun, and I really appreciated like just some of the weird animation we saw in this like purgatory world too. Like I wasn't expecting to see like these like ghost like kind of characters and stuff, and there were some really funny moments like with these lost souls trying to figure out like, you know, how to get out of that like, you know, lack of like general interest in life and stuff. And I like that it like that's a big part of like, you know, mental illness and stuff. And so that was like cool aspects that made some good jokes and would have liked to have seen more of too. But like I liked that it was very grand and like, you know, it felt very out of the box. Like who comes up with something like this? And you know, it's very Pixar-y, which I loved about it. And that's what felt more normal than the fantasy of like Onward, I guess you could say. Like Onward like wasn't anything I've never not seen before. Like, you know, it just felt like I was watching like a more like, you know, watered down version of Shrek or something.
So funny enough, I recently watched that there's like a Pixar documentary on Netflix. I think it's just called The Pixar Story. And essentially it talks about like Pixar's inception. It's an older movie. I think it's from like 2006 or something. But it's like about Pixar's inception, their first couple films, how they approached it, how the business was built around it, because they were an independent production company at one point. They've since been bought out by Disney, and they kind of have been running the show when it comes to Disney's animation arm. Like even though it's Pixar is owned by Disney, they're also like overseers of the board of like everything. So they kind of were sought out by Bob Iger as like people that had that same kind of torch that Disney's original animations had, the ones that are just timeless classics, essentially, like Snow White or Beauty and the Beast or any of these classic films that the characters still live on to this day. There were characters like that Pixar created, like Woody and Buzz Lightyear and Jessie, Toy Story characters, and even some characters from their other films. But I found that the one thing that they really kind of talk about in that documentary was the idea and the concept that Pixar really, at the heart of it, like every single film they did, the story was always like top notch. That's what made the movies good. It wasn't the fact that it was 3D CGI like animation. Like it wasn't the fact that they did invent that. It was the fact that their stories were always great. It seems like they have a formula down. I do think one thing really held this film back of it kind of being like riding the same coattails as Inside Out concept wise. I felt like it's not that similar, but it still is like kind of similar concept wise, I felt like. But the story, it goes different places, you know?
Right, exactly, yeah. And like that's just what I really expected from this movie, and it was like perfect to watch on Christmas, I guess, just because, you know, I mean, Christmas movies, it's a comfort day for me, and I always want to watch like comforting things and stuff too. So this like felt very different to watch and stuff in that moment. And I'm curious how it would have played out if it like came out in theaters. I think it would have really did well box office wise and stuff, just because of how different it is. And I can't stop seeing anything but love for this movie. It's a very hard movie to dislike and stuff. Like, yeah, like if you dislike this movie, like I'm just like, why and stuff. Like, do you not have a soul or something? Sorry to throw in that pun, but just like it just felt like one of those movies where it's very hard to dislike. And I get that not every movie is for everyone and stuff, but like this really just feels like it's just hard to dislike and stuff. And I really appreciated just like the mood it put me in and stuff, and just like seeing that like not everything's ever gonna go your way and stuff, and it really doesn't. It's not to get into like spoilers and stuff, but just like I really appreciated it. Like tackles like death really well, like the struggle of like going through life feeling that you're unfulfilled and stuff. And like I always wonder about like our film teachers. Blaze and I have known each other since high school and stuff. We had two great film teachers that really like kind of helped us spark that interest in film and stuff. And I always hope that they don't think that like they were failures for not being filmmakers, because I think that's what they always intended to be, but instead they were teaching and stuff. But they got the job done and inspiring us and stuff. So I always think about that kind of stuff, and I appreciated this movie telling that person's point of view essentially.
It's kind of funny that this film was a Christmas movie though, because its main influences are like A Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah. And it has those vibes, but it didn't know at the time that it was going to be released on Christmas. So I kind of wish that they had played up. I mean, it's wishful thinking, like, because it's after the matter. Like the film was originally supposed to be released in June, but it was actually released on Christmas Day. It has so many like kind of Christmassy like type of messages, in a way, like slightly like Christmas messages. Its inspirations were heavily Christmas style movies, so it could have played up the Christmasness. I just don't think the film and Pixar themselves really predicted that COVID-19 was going to affect their film as much as it did, obviously. But I kind of wish there was like an alternate reality, I guess, where this was, because this could have been like one of those awesome Christmas movies.
Yeah, I definitely could have seen it come out Thanksgiving weekend, did huge box office, and just continuously been like the holiday movie of the year. Because, every year we do get like some sort of Christmas movie in theaters, but sometimes they just, don't do that well. Like, I think last year The Grinch came out, the animated Illumination one and stuff. But yeah, understandable that one was king that whole entire month. But, if this was able to come out in November, like I definitely could have seen it having legs throughout the whole entire winter season, and maybe even been the top movie of the first week of January, because usually there's that movie that's still just like still rolling and stuff. Like I know that the big movies of December this year were supposed to be Dune, and I'm excited for Dune. I love Denis Villeneuve, but I could also see that movie just not resonating well with audiences, just because a lot of Denis Villeneuve movies don't, unfortunately. But like I did have high hopes for that one, but now I'm getting off subject. But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see that reality.
Definitely, I'd recommend anyone. I mean, I don't even think it needs to be said, because I feel like most people that wanted to watch this movie probably have already seen it. So just go check it out if you really had any interest. I don't think you're gonna be too, like, I don't think there's really anything to be disappointed about. But yeah, I mean, I think most people will enjoy this movie for what it's worth. If you already have the Disney Plus subscription, I don't know if you should go out and get Disney Plus to watch the movie though. Go ask a friend who might have Disney Plus.
Yeah, so with that, I'm definitely recommending the movie. I think everyone, like I said, this is a very hard movie to dislike, so I'm going to recommend it to everyone out there. It's there's something in it for everyone. You should find some stuff funny, and like I cracked up and got emotional watching it. I have a friend's Disney Plus account. That's how I watched it. I don't recommend buying Disney Plus for it. I'm not a Disney fan by any means. I do like my Pixar movies, but if you have the opportunity to check it out, or if it's available to rent, I'm actually not positive. Like, definitely go check that out if that's available for you.
Definitely. So that's going to be it for this week, guys. If you haven't already, there's no Amazon affiliate link, so the best way to support the show, guys, go ahead and leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of Soul.
Another way to help us out is by smashing that like button. And if you're new to watching our videos, subscribe and hit that notification bell to get all our latest updates.
And guys, if you haven't followed us already, we're on Instagram, TikTok, all the social media. You can find all those links in the description box below. Tune in next week for brand new, fresh releases.